Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what?
I hope this isn't about your podcast again.
Why, did you finally listen to it?
I came in like a wrecking ball.
The Gremlin Next Door is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Welcome to the Gremlin Next Door. You're listening to my mommy and daddy.
And now our feature presentation.
And here's your host, my mommy and daddy, Chris and Stella Green.
Hello, pups and kittens, and welcome to episode 85 of The Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me, as always, is the lovely, the fabulous, the talented, and groomer of the year, Sarah.
Hello.
And joining us this week, we have little one, Claire, over here.
Hello.
How are you doing? Thank you for joining us this week.
Good.
Tell us about your week.
My week gone good, and I had some great days.
You had some great days?
Now I'm almost becoming a first grader.
You are almost becoming a first grader. That is awesome.
And I'm almost becoming almost 7.
Yep, you are almost 7.
Yeah, only one more month.
Yep.
And then it's my birthday on 20th.
22nd.
22nd.
That is right. Are you you're gonna actually move out next year, right? Or next month?
Well,
you got to get a job. You're almost 7. You got to get a job, get a place.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna get a job. I'm gonna work at the Grandma Next Door.
Oh, you're gonna work at the Groomer Next Door podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna look at my mom and dad.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, good luck on that one.
Yeah.
Mommy doesn't have me working there anymore.
Well, I am not going to Queen Dogs. I am going to be a vet.
Oh, you're going to just go open up and be a vet just by next month? That's awesome.
Yeah, and we can get more money.
I love it. Now that's how you teach your kid. 7 years old, you're going to be a vet.
Yep.
You know, to heck with that Doogie Howser kid. He was like, what, 15 when he became a doctor? She's 7 and she's going to be a vet. Yeah, eat that. All right, everybody, let's dive right into the weekly roundup.
The weekly roundup, yeah.
All right, on this weekly roundup, I can tell you how 2 of your days went. I can't tell you how the other ones went.
Well, I am getting a wee bit ticked off. Ever since I quit smoking 6 weeks ago, I have yet to be able to breathe easily.
Yeah, and that doesn't make any sense to a lot of people. I want to actually mention it because I didn't mention this last week. You were 5 weeks smoke-free last week, and this week marks 6 weeks smoke-free. So congratulations. I'm sorry I didn't mention that. I know it was on album art, but it's something we need to always address because that is a huge accomplishment.
Well, it's pretty okay. I'm staying strong. That's not my problem. It's just I have been sick ever since April. And then, okay, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to quit smoking. Maybe that's my problem. Excuse me. So I go ahead and quit smoking. And then I had a double respiratory infection. Went to the doctors, got all the medicine. And right when I'm feeling good, I had 2 days where I was just feeling fantastic. I could take on the world. And all of a sudden I got a sinus infection. So I'm not sick or anything like that, but all my sinuses are all screwed up, putting tons of pressure. I just leave my mouth open. It's horrible. I am not a mouth breather, folks, and having to do that just is a pit. And then when you're grooming and you have to breathe through your mouth,
you inhale so much dog hair.
Yeah, I'm constantly wiping my mouth. It's horrible, guys. So appreciate it when a groomer comes to work while they're sick.
Very
true. They go
true.
through so much.
Very true.
So this whole week I've been tired because I'm not getting enough oxygen in me because when you go from being a normal nose breather you get more oxygen. And then you go from nose straight to mouth breathing. You don't get that oxygen anymore. The lack of oxygen is just terrible, and I'm tired. I want to go to sleep.
I just want some time to sleep. Well, I can remember Monday. Monday was a cluster F. The worst day. I hear, I'm thinking I'm going to come in. I'm going to actually work with you. Nothing went right. That was a diabolical.
Well, we found out why nothing worked right.
Yeah.
I overestimated how your schooling's going in just a matter of 4 weeks.
Actually, it was 3 at that point.
Or 3 weeks, right? So it was a blunder on my part. I shouldn't have done it, and I set you up for a little bit more of a failure than you should have. And I do apologize for it.
Well,
but we made up for it this weekend, though.
Oh yeah, we did. We'll go over it in Grooming Academy. You'll hear day by day what went on. You can learn a couple things from, you're obviously learning every day how to use your tools. I'm not sure how this worked out, how this blundered up, but now that I understand where the blunder is, it makes a huge difference.
Well, every groomer has their own unique style and techniques. Some of them are absolutely wrong.
Or outdated.
And then some are just different. Get the same results, just different.
Right.
And there's some techniques that are learned as you progress in your grooming career. But when you start out, you need to start out with the basics, the simple stuff. And you can't give somebody, a dog that takes hours of scissoring for someone who's only been grooming for a week. That's not right. It's not fair. It will screw with anybody's head. And most likely that haircut's not going to look right. It's horrible.
Right.
So, I showed you a few ways that are a little easier and make more sense.
They made all the sense in the world. Are you kidding? It was night and day for me. I was like, oh my goodness, that makes all the sense in the world. And there's definitely some changes that I'm going to be making as of Tuesday. Whether it's liked or not, I don't give a flying beep. I paid my money, and I will be doing things a lot differently.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm a little upset about is that I was told one thing and then something completely different has happened. I simply said, I need you to know how to do proper body, legs, and feet cuts, teddy bear faces, and schnauzer grooms. And yet to this day have you groomed a teddy bear face or a schnauzer. Proper schnauzer. And I'm like, okay, alright. This has only been the first 4 weeks. Something's got to change here.
Well, we're talking about 4 weeks out of 12. Roughly a little bit more probably than that.
We want you home in 4 more weeks.
Yeah, we want to end this in 4 weeks. Obviously, every week that I'm not here is money that we're losing. There's a lot to go on. I'm not gonna sit and bash and slam anybody because there's no need for that. I have to come back, and for a lot of reasons. Each day when I do a dog, I see money flying off my table, and it drives me insane.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, and it's some people wonder, well, you go home every week, why? Well, I actually get to work again with Sarah, which is the most important part. I get to take what I know to the shop, and I know that every dog that I'm touching is helping make us money, and that's really the most important part.
And you're doing it properly to where you're not hurting that dog and giving it a bad experience either.
True. I mean, there's no harm I see in where I'm at. It's just I can see things that I would do differently. There's logic that I see.
My thing is that right when it comes to you going to Grooming Academy, I'm not your wife, I'm your boss.
Yeah.
And for me to fork out this kind of money, obviously it's us.
Yeah.
But when we're talking business, it's I'm forking out this kind of money for you to learn. I should be able to make sure you're learning the proper techniques that I need you to learn. Not something that is over glorified.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to be a certain type of a groomer. Well, you don't have to be. But you also don't have to foo-foo up your grooms just so you can tell I'm different.
Yeah. You know, there's definitely some techniques that don't make sense. I'm very much I'm struggling with it.
The technique that we learned yesterday when we got together, because we were grooming Saturdays, we've been so busy. You don't scissor up the leg. Hair grows from the top to the bottom. It grows down.
Yeah.
Just like with human hair. So you don't go scissoring upwards, you scissor down. You scissor down the leg, you scissor around the foot. They had you scissoring up the leg, up the foot.
Right.
No, that's not how you do it. That you will not get an even cut. And no.
And don't start with the foot, start with the leg and work down.
Exactly. It's like when you're drawing a picture. You don't start at the sky and work your way down. You start with the grass and you work your way up. Because the way it grows, the earth grows from the bottom up. It starts with the grass, then goes to the trees, and then to the sky. So it's the same premise. But with dog's hair, since it grows down, you scissor it down the leg and around the foot.
And the other thing I want to stop doing is I want to actually stop using my curved shears. I'm going to my straights now because the curves just... I'm finding that there's more mistakes that I'm making with a curved pair than my straight shears. Well, and that makes... I felt more comfortable with my straights yesterday than the curve.
Well, see, curved shears are great. The only reason why I don't have any is because mine busted. Or they got so dull that no sharpener could fix them. So I just went to my straight shears. Well, straights can do anything a curve can, you just might need a little extra help. But your particular curve shears have such a bend in them. It's almost like a half circle.
Yeah.
And that is just too much of a bend. So...
it's time to move forward and change out.
So,
and at least until I can master my straights.
Yeah.
Then I can learn how to work with my curves again.
You can still use your curves. I mean, I was taught how to use both at the same time.
Right.
Use your straights for your straight lines and use your curves
We've
for
also
your curves.
discussed, I really think you had a better situation in learning than I did. Yours was...
I had one of the better instructors in general. He himself has won awards, and he himself has done a lot. Sean was an amazing instructor, and he had that calming ability. He was able to come to a dog that was flipping out on our table, and the dog would stop. Just stop. I saw that, I'm like, that's the groomer I want to be.
Right.
I want to be that groomer that comes over and the dog just settles down.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's the kind of groomer I became. As before Kim washed out of grooming, I went up to her dog and the dog's flipping out and moving around. I came up to the dog was perfect.
Yeah.
I was able to complete it. I looked at her, I'm like, I don't know what your problem is, but I was able to complete this dog just fine.
Right.
And so that was my instructor. And there's a lot of people who like to give me grief about where I get my training from. But the best move on to do better things.
Well,
and
yeah.
I've moved on to do better things. And it sure is a lot better going to an actual instructor who himself went to a school to learn how to instruct than to learn from somebody else in your shop that you just met.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm going to move on, so to kind of bridge all this together. And is there anything else on the week you wanted to mention?
Everything's looking good. We're just really busy. We're asking our customers, I'm sorry, just hold on for a little bit longer until Chris can come back from Grooming Academy.
And the response has been overwhelmingly awesome.
Can't wait. There's people saying, oh, you can do my dog when you
I know.
come back.
Here, come back. If you come back on a weekend, you can do mine. I know. Practice on mine.
It was like, some people you're going to get one or two things. You're going to get people that don't want you touching their dog because you're brand new.
Right.
Or, like what we're experiencing, people throwing dogs at you, saying, "Here, you could groom my puppy. Oh, I would love for you to take care of my dog."
It's overwhelmingly it's humbling and wonderful, and you know, I'm not going through this saying, "Oh, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best." I'm going through this whole situation going, I am just hoping to be a good groomer, a quality groomer, not some half-ass, you know, no ability type groomer that's just in it to make a couple bucks and
See,
give you crap.
well, that's one thing that I've noticed throughout the years. You can make mistakes on the groom. Your grooms don't have to be perfect. But if the customers know that you're treating their dog right, you're treating them right, you're a good person, then 1 year longer than the other, they'll let it slide and not care about it, because they much rather have good people working on their dog than a little snot-nosed brat who screams at the dog but does a perfect job.
Yeah, but the problem is,
And half the time they're not even doing a
put
perfect
out
job.
perfect grooms, and you do. And that's the thing though. You have very high quality grooms, so it's one of those wow. So to kind of bridge what we're talking about with Grooming Academy, I'm going to actually put you through and over to this week's version of Grooming Academy, which, as you know, I record it every day, right? At the same day, so everything's fresh in my head, and that way you're able to actually hear. Without having me to recap it, I have to actually give you guys a play, actually recorded each day. So sit back and enjoy this week's Grooming Academy update.
Okay, class is about to start.
Hello, pups and kittens, and welcome to day number 12 of Grooming Academy. Well, let's see. Today was a travel day. I traveled back from home all the way out here to school this morning. That is always a challenging drive. It's even more challenging after you've been home since Thursday of last week. So that can be a long drive because you keep thinking I was home for like 5 days. Worked 2 of those days. Yesterday didn't go so well. So unfortunately, my confidence today was pretty much in the crapper. So that was really difficult. But I got in today, and traffic was a little bit easier to get out here, but on the other side we had rain up and down the highway, so it was a little bit harder to get here. The 2 dogs today one was a miniature poodle, which, as we've all have heard from me before, those clean feet can be real pains in the butts. Just be able to get all those little hairs. They're very difficult to get that clean feet, challenging. And then the other one was a puppy, and it was an actual schnauzer. The schnauzer never had been groomed before, so that was one problem. Did not like clippers to the head, and had to kind of draw on the lines for the skirt, and that's again tricky as it can be. But made it through the day, all is well. Hopefully, I can get my confidence back. That kind of took a little bit of that backseat, but from working back at the shop, but all's good. I should be okay, back on track, hopefully by the end of the week. It's a full week, so pretty much going to be, all week we'll be doing this, so no going home early for this guy. So that concludes day number 12. Hello, everybody, and welcome to day number 13 of Grooming Academy. Well, I have got my confidence back, thankfully. I was able to rebound after a little bit of a confidence decrease, but that's always going to be expected whenever we're trying to better ourselves in life. I'm pretty sure all of you have all gone through it, whether it's going through school, promotion at your work, moving to a new place, anything that requires change and dedication to actually better yourself, you're always going to have that little hiccup. I unfortunately had faced mine, and in some sense, it was probably a better thing. I had faced mine earlier this week. Made me really think about where I was at, my progress, if I was, making progress. The expectations I have for this is a little bit higher than I should actually have. I put a lot of expectations on myself, so unfortunately, that requires me to kind of take myself out of an equation and look at things. Today I was able to actually redeem myself within my own psyche, of course. I got into school normal time. We did an exercise which I was a little baffled by. The instructor wanted us to use our grinder and take a number 2 pencil and sharpen the pencil with the actual grinder. That would actually give you the opportunity of learning technique to actually use your grinder in a more efficient way. Personally, I disagree because I'm in my 4th week now. I felt like that could have been something I could have done on my 1st week, maybe 2nd week. The other person that's there, they're on their 2nd week. So it was kind of one of those, well, I'm kind of past that stage. I shouldn't be doing it. But it was still an exercise that I was willing to do. And it was good to see. But for me, it was a little bit too 101 for me. So then, my first dog was, well, I had only 2 dogs today. They both were Shih Tzus. The first one required a flea bath, which I do prefer our bathing system back at our shop a lot more than what I do here. But that is one of the things about in grooming, and I've experienced this one with Sarah. Different shops have different protocols, and you really have to accept that, and you have to appreciate that. There is no, you're right, you're wrong kind of method. It gets the job done. I have a preference, and they have a preference, and since I'm in their house right now, I have no problems adhering to their preference. So I did their flea bath on the dog. I still miss our system, but it was an entertaining dog in its own. The body was a number 7. You drop on the 7 on the legs. What you do on the back legs is you come down and you blend off at the hock, and on the front legs you just kind of blend down a little bit at the top. And then the rest of it's all done by scissoring. I wanted to make sure I blended off the legs so that they would represent the number 7 blade that I was using, so it would all blend in uniform. It was kind of funny. My instructor said she normally actually leaves more on the leg than I did, and she thought that it was a little bit too short. But at the end of the day, we're all only going to worry about what our customer says. So that's where my redemption came in. The owner of the dog came in after I was done with the dog, and I'm starting to work on heads now. So that's, rounding off a head, making sure you actually trim up the face and everything. I'm starting to get into that stage now, and that's very tricky because you can screw up on a body, but the head is going to be the main focal point that everything's going to come out of. So that's definitely where I'm looking at right now. But the owner loved the dog, and in his words said, and I quote, "This is the first time that it's actually looked the way I've wanted it to look." So that's a huge redemption for me. I unfortunately was on lunch when the actual owner came in, so I missed that, unfortunately. But I definitely was given the kudos from my instructor, and now they've taken the instructions that I did on this dog the way I did it, and I wasn't trying to do things on my own. I wasn't trying to go rogue. I was just trying to make the dog look efficient. But that has now been noted so that for future grooms, the owner will actually get the dog the way they want it. So, huge win for me on that one. Same, almost same premise, except it wasn't a flea bath. I actually didn't have to give the bath to the other Shih Tzu. Pretty much the same premise on the dog, except this one wasn't a number 7, it was number 5. And with the number 5, you want to leave a little bit more on the legs because you want to make sure you're blending off to the actual blade that you are. You don't want to have blotches, you don't want to have overgrowth, unless you're going for the Asian infusion, and in that case, it's a whole different ball game, and we can go into that a whole different time. The other part that became a little bit more challenging with this dog was it had a home groom, and the home groom was very blotchy. So you had a lot of pieces that were missing of fur, so you can't just glue hair into places that aren't there. So just the trickiness of trying to get that to work itself out was the challenge. So that concludes day number 13. I'm very proud of how this is working out. I'm feeling like I actually was able to get a win today, and that is the most important of all of it, is to try to get the wins and get the confidence so that I can go back to my real shop and do quality work. Thank you all for joining me on day number 13. Hello, pups and kittens, and welcome to day number 14 of Grooming Academy. All right, so let's dive right into this day. Got to the actual shop itself at 7:30, like I do every day. The shop opens up at 7 o'clock, and we had no dogs. Now, it wasn't because I don't think it was because of the weather. Lately, it's been really raining a lot. I know my friends over on the West Coast, it's dry as the desert out there, and we're pretty much underwater. So that is a real challenge for us. Is we have a lot of rain, and it is flash flood warnings are all over. So that may have caused a little bit of the deal. Now, a couple things that happened today that I would not do in my current practice, going back to our normal shop, not because they're not the right way. I want to make it clear, every shop has its own proper procedures that they like to take. Now, these are not actual safety. This is just a matter of booking. This one is a booking issue. The owner has 5 poodles, miniature poodles, and I personally would never book that many, spots and take that kind of risk. Reason being, if there was any kind of circumstance that had to have the owner actually cancel the appointment, again, we have really bad weather. That's one. Car could have broke down. There could have been some kind of emergency. There's a lot of different things that actually could come up, and 5 spots for one owner is too dangerous. I don't believe that as a groomer you really should do that. It's just too risky. You're putting all your chips on one color, and you're just hoping that it lands. It worked out for them today. I would never do something like that. I've seen it happen. Remember, folks, I've actually been doing this for a little bit now. So I have had experience seeing, up to 3 dogs. I feel like 3 dogs is even too much for one owner. 2 dogs, okay. 3 dogs is just too much, because you're literally going to walk away with the possibility of having a complete open morning up into your afternoon and then scramble to find dogs. So it's a real risk. If you're a young groomer out there and you're thinking, well, it's money, I'm just going to give you from an opinion point. I've seen it go wrong, so that's why I say I don't like it. But I am not criticizing this place at all. Please don't think that this is a criticism that I'm thinking that they're doing things wrong. It's just I will not do that in my practice. Things worked out. We had oodles and oodles of poodles. Pretty much, I had 2 poodles come through from my side. I pretty much shaved them down. It was number 5, which was not getting through the coat, so I had to do a 5 skip. A lot of groomers that I know of don't like 5 skips. I've had absolutely no problem with it, but I am not a big fan of actually prepping a dog, doing a prep shave like that, unless necessary. If the dog is matted, then yes. To save time on wash and drying, I am not a big fan of it. For one, I just think that it's just a little bit more wear and tear on your clipper, and I'm not a big fan of that. And it's putting the dog through a little bit more than it needs to. Again, it's a personal preference. It's not a right or wrong preference at all. So that was my start. And doing clean feet, which, it's a definite wonderful technique, and I'm not criticizing that either. Clean feet is definitely a wonderful technique on a poodle. So it was just that was the start of my day. We were able to actually get the poodles done. I got my one done. The 2 that I had done parts of, and then gave a dried one. Then in the afternoon after lunch, I had one more dog, and it was pretty much matted to the bone. Again, another skip tooth was needed. It was started with a 7 skip. Then that really actually brought the dog down to a very minimum amount of fur. Blended off on the legs, and then scissored the legs what I could to kind of blend everything together. But the lesson of the day is, and we say this all the time, you gotta brush your dogs. A lot of the dogs were matted. The last dog was terribly matted, and it's just one of those sad moments. It doesn't take a great deal of time for you to actually pick up a slicker brush and just brush the dog. What I saw with the last one was just, no concept of actually brushing your dog. You let it go outside, it goes to the bathroom, it's got rain all over it, it's, comes in the house, dries, humidity, and it just kind of mats together as it's laying there. So, if there's anything to take out of the day, it's brush your dog. Because then they end up going through a great deal in the groomer. And if you don't take it to the groomer, it's just going to have mats, and those mats can cause terrible, terrible consequences. Say it all the time. So that concludes day number 14. I hope that everybody is learning a little bit from what I'm going through. Again, as I say all the time, thank you to a lot of you who have actually been so supportive during this. I had my little low moment, and you've all kind of stepped up and been really cool and give me so much confidence, and it really has helped. So, on to day number 15 when tomorrow concludes. Hello, pups and kittens, and welcome to day number 15 of Grooming Academy. Well, this is the Friday for us, so I am actually, if you can tell, I am actually driving back home from school right as I speak. Able to put the microphone on and be able to record at the same time, which is kind of entertaining at its own self. So let's see. Let's start off with the day. The day was it was actually good. I want to be home. I want to actually be back with my family. Of course, I know a lot of you can probably relate to that. Always the struggle on the day that you're going to take off and go back home can always be a little challenging because you're itching to get back into the car to drive home. But, it takes, you got to still get through your day. I started with a kitten, actually, a little Siamese kitten, really badly matted. So I was brushing out the cat itself, getting all the mats out, which there was quite a few. And then after that, I gave it a bath. It's owned by the instructor, and she likes to use iodine. I don't know much about this. I've never actually heard of this one before, so it was new to me. But I bathed it in iodine, and she liked how it looked, so that's always a good thing when your instructor gives you one of her own personal vehicles. Sorry, guys. Personal pets of her own to work on. So that was entertaining. Then we had, there was something else and I can't remember what it was. I finished my day off shaving down an Aussie Poodle mix. Aussie Poodle was again another matted dog. Man, I'm just seeing tons of matted dogs right now. And it's, I understand that the weather has been a little bit harsh, but that really is no excuse to not brush your dogs. So that was a challenge, let me tell you. The Aussie Poodle had a number 7 on the back, and then I went to a 0, which is a guard comb, down the legs, and of course, it was matted, so a lot of the matting went on. I had to do clean feet, which I'll tell you one thing: a clean feet on a big poodle, whether it's a poodle or Aussie Poodle or Golden Doodle, whatever your poodle breed is, the clean feet on a big one is a lot more easier to actually maintain. You can actually get there and see everything a lot better. So that was a much more enjoyable experience on that part. Just a lot of work on that one. And once that was over, I got in the car, and now, like I said, I'm pushing back, heading home. So that concludes the 4th week of Grooming Academy. I can't believe we already have 4 down. I am definitely itching to get back permanently and stop living abroad from my family. I'm pretty sure, like I said, a lot of you guys probably have faced these adversities before. It is challenging. So I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast and look forward to starting week number 5 next week. So that kind of bridges it all together of what I went through this week. As you can tell, I had some highs, I had some lows. Early in the week, I had a lot of low, but I was able to rebound. I actually really felt like another rebound came on Saturday when I was working with you and you opened up that light. It just kind of clicked, you know. Whenever you're trying to learn how to do anything, any kind of special skill, everything's really fuzzy at the beginning. And then as you're learning, it starts to become clearer and clearer until the actual picture is in front of you.
Like, oh, that makes sense.
That made all the sense in the world. I wish I would have seen that from the beginning.
But speaking of which, I have like 2 or 3 pictures to send you.
Of what?
Of those pads, of what the pads should look like.
Yeah.
And what the sanitary should look like.
And again, you have your volume up on your phone. You do this every week. So that was our week. You know, it was busy. It seems like I'm traveling 200 miles per week, go back and forth. I'm away from you guys, you know, for 4 days. And I come home and I'm so grateful to be home, and no sooner am I just happy I'm back home and I'm back in the car on my way back out there, and it's
And whose fault's that?
Well, right? Why do you come home, stupid? You know, if I didn't come home, I would have 3 days off. 3. What would I do with myself? I wouldn't know what to do. It would drive me nuts. So yeah, that's this week's, you know, roundup with both of us. Hopefully I'm coming back as soon as a month from now, I'm hoping. This week will be start of week 5. It'll actually be the exact 1 month that it's all been going on. And, you know, I'm looking forward to moving forward. I was really happy. I don't know if I even mentioned this on day 15. You know, when I was leaving for the week, my instructor gave me $25 for, you know, what I had worked on in a week, and I was really appreciative to that. You know, in 2 weeks I've made a modest $45. I know it's not a lot, obviously, when you go to work and you're there from morning, you know, early morning to late afternoon. Obviously you would make a lot more in one day than, you know, the short.
But still, you're getting money back,
right?
Which is nice.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
And it's she said this doesn't normally happen until the end.
Yeah, and I really appreciate
the end, like the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Do you ever get enough just for maybe some gas money?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I was like, oh, 4 weeks into it.
Oh, my third week, I got a $20 tip.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing. So, you know, again, it's been a high and low week. There's some, you know, as you can tell, there's been some moments where it's just, but we got to expect that. You know, whenever you're working out for something, you're going to have those moments when you're actually going to second guess yourself. All right, let's move on to GND news. Okay, this week on GND news, I know, it's just...
Take 4.
Take 4, yes. This week, we have 2 clips that are very important for us to talk about. One, actually, re-topics on something we had talked about in a previous podcast, and that's definitely something we will have debate on. But the one that does not have a clip that I'm going to actually talk about really frustrated me immensely. On July 2nd of this year, at Little Rascals Doggy Daycare, which is a grooming and overnight boarding facility in Maryland, there was Kesha, which is a Chihuahua. The owner believes that the dog was left unattended while being bathed, which there's your first sign of why would you do this? You never leave a dog unattended.
Was it confirmed that it was, or did the owner just have a suspicion?
I have suspicion right now. It says Lacey's unsure whether she will seek legal action. The groomer salon has declined to comment. In a statement, you have some sort of protocol in place of something. They're watching the dog at all times. you wouldn't leave a baby in a bathtub and step away, which is exactly how we refer to every time that there's a dog on our table or in a bathtub.
Yep.
The article on the internet that I read was titled "Dog Died After Accidental Hanging at Grooming Salon." Is this death accidental? This adorable Chihuahua was a subject of pure negligence at the hands of a groomer.
Well, yeah, see, that's the problem. People don't understand what accidents mean.
Yeah.
Accidents is, seriously, it was an accident. No
We did.
one could have thought this could have happened. But when you walk away, it's strictly negligence.
Well, that's
Because
it.
you know something could happen.
That's it. Most likely, the groomer did not kill the dog intentionally. However, lack of attention and distraction when entrusted with the life of a living creature is not an accident. There's just such a question I'm having to all of it.
The part that makes me absolutely infuriated, you know, this pup died. It was useless.
Yeah.
It didn't need to happen.
It was absolutely pointless that this did happen.
You know, it wasn't like there was a fire and they left.
Right, probably picked up a
wasn't-
phone or went to talk to a customer.
Or went to go grab something, their iPhone, to listen to music while they're washing or something like that.
Which I have earphones when I'm washing a dog, and they're always on me. I don't leave the dog.
Yeah, if the worst case scenario, you take a towel, you wrap them up, even though they're sudsy, take them with you.
Or put them in a kennel.
Grab your iPad, grab your phone, come back, put the dog in, and continue.
Right.
There's no harm in that.
No, but leaving a dog unattended is the most ridiculous thing you could do.
It just like when humans were hung to death. Or, what's that? Is that the right way to say it? Or hang to death? Hung to death?
Yeah, it's past tense.
Okay. It wasn't quick. It was long. It was agonizing. And it took a while for that to finish.
Well, it
for the
depends
person to
though.
die.
It does depend. I mean, in these circumstances, probably what happened was the actual noose or harness was on the dog. The actual bar that was holding it in place was probably too low, so there was a lot of give. The dog was unattended and went to jump off the table and probably snapped its neck while jumping off.
They said it was hung.
Well,
it was
yeah.
strangled. That's different
It could
than
be,
being the best case was that the dog was instantly killed.
That's what I'm hoping.
But if it was strangled to death, that takes a while.
True.
Most groomers have slip leads that I don't even like calling them nooses because they're not a noose.
Yeah.
They slip.
Yeah.
And it's a safety feature, and they need to be properly maintained. If they start fraying, that means they are no longer useful.
Right.
The mechanism for these is that if a dog were to jump off your table, because trust me folks, it can happen, I've seen it. Dogs jump off your table, that the part that keeps the dog's neck inside goes straight up.
Yes. It's a little,
It moves right up.
Yeah.
And if the fabric or the leash part that is holding them on, if that stuff starts fraying, then it won't move up as easily.
Right.
And then you need to replace it.
Right.
Because it's a safety backup.
Very
First safety tip, you stay with your dog. Second, if the dog gets crazy all of a sudden, because that can happen, where a sudden noise happened, somebody dropped something by accident, or
The dryers.
the dryer turned on, or they hear their owner and they take off flying. It can happen.
It happens a lot.
But when you walk away and the dog is strangled, that means it takes a long time for that to actually happen. Not as long as it would if it was a Saint Bernard, but a Chihuahua a little quicker.
I just hope it was quick and, painless because, man, obviously it already happened, so.
The loop that they used should have had that safety mechanism that came straight up and let the dog down.
True.
So I would much rather a negligent groomer have one of these and the dog ends up breaking its leg from the drop than to get strangled like that.
But see, the whole thing always comes down to this. Don't leave the dog unattended. We see this so often.
That is rule
Number
one.
It's grooming 101. It really
is. I even trained you that you hurt yourself before you allow anything to hurt the dog.
I've had dogs that freak out for a dryer. And I mean, we're talking in a low setting, one motor, simple setting, no nozzle, just simple. And they're freaking out. When they freak out, you take them off that table. You let them sit in a kennel and kennel dry. That is a method. And it just drives me nuts. And what really set me off was, I'm not going to mention their name, but they had posted a comment. And I'll read their comment. It says, "This is why I never put a noose or harness around the neck when grooming. Wake up, people, it's dangerous." No, you're an idiot.
Yeah, that's a groomer thinking that they're the best groomer inside the entire United States, if not the world.
Right.
That they're so good they don't need to have a loop around their neck. They don't need to have any kind of safety harnesses on. That they're just so good their dog stands perfectly still.
Yeah, that never is going to happen.
Come back to the real world, lady.
Or gentlemen.
I don't care. Female to female. Most groomers are females anyways.
True.
Come back to to planet Earth, okay? And realize, obviously, if you don't do dogs that squirm, you're not a good groomer, because the only dogs you can do sit still, then your skills aren't there to do all the crazies out there. That's my problem with here in Rolla, is that we're the only salon that does extremely large dogs and biting dogs. It's because nobody else wants to do them. And nobody can do them properly without hurting each other.
True.
You know, them getting hurt or the dog getting hurt.
It really irked me. I mean, I wrote a comment on it. Things like that make me mad, because you know what? You learned how to groom off of the back of a box of cereal. That's how you learned how to groom. And those are the groomers that this whole podcast is predicated from, is the idiots.
Right.
I can't stand it. You never took the time to learn how to be a proper groomer, an adequate groomer. Now you're just this I'm so wonderful kind of groomer, and you can't do crap. You're probably an aggressive groomer, you probably are a shady groomer, and you probably overcharge because you think that your work is so much more valuable.
I hate it when people think that their poo don't stink.
Oh my gosh.
That they're,
no, they sell it in a little baggie. Groomer poo, $50 because it came...
Smells like roses.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's quite annoying when you get people commenting like that, but unfortunately those kind of groomers are everywhere. We have some here in Rolla.
Yep.
That we have to deal with. That proclaim themselves to be the best dog groomer in all of Missouri.
I think I heard that they actually founded America. They actually discovered it too.
Yeah, I think so. And then they got in their time machine and came back to this time because they'd rather live in this day and age than that.
All right, the next story I wanted to talk about, and I just want to actually, again, another WTF of the week for this. Purina, hey, you're back in our news. Again, you provide people with crap, you overcharge. I don't agree with what they're putting in it. I mean, why don't we just put a kitchen sink in your product, because it probably would have more protein than what they have. But enjoy hearing what Purina is putting in their food now.
New concerns tonight about pet food. Nothing new is being recalled right now, but many pet lovers are asking questions about sharp things they're finding in a popular brand of dog treats. Scripps consumer reporter John Matteries uncovering the origin of those hair-like pieces.
People with pets are on a heightened state of alert these days after several pet food recalls and some dangerous pet treats from China. So one man was understandably concerned when he found something sharp in his dog's treats. Brian Walsh treats his black lab, Sarah, like his own child.
Sarah, come here.
So he got concerned when feeding her some treats and finding something sharp sticking out of one.
They have what looks like little paintbrush bristles in them.
The treats were Pedigree's marrow bone. Brian then found the fibers poking out of several other samples.
I actually got pricked by one.
So Brian checked Google and found other people worried too.
I looked online and saw that other people were having the same thing where they were noticing these.
At blogs like Dog Food Advisor, buyers describe the fibers as being like a toothbrush, a piece of fishing line, or a fish bone.
Whatever that is, it's rather sharp.
So what is it? We contacted Mars Pet Care, which makes pedigree, and a spokeswoman explained that it is pig fur. She says it is safe for dogs to eat, is digestible, and meets all government standards. To be sure, we took a treat to a local vet's office. Dr. Jordan Albrecht analyzed the fiber under a microscope. Does that look like it could be a hair tail?
I think it could be, for sure.
She said it was not plastic, but rather some type of animal fur.
I think it could be consistent with a pig hair or something of that nature.
So this latest pet treat scare appears to be nothing to be worried about. Still, Brian Walsh says he's going to cut back on how many marrow-bone treats Sarah gets to eat.
Good girl.
If you have these pedigree treats, the company insists they're safe to continue feeding your dog. Good information in case you notice something strange, so you don't waste your money. I'm John Mattery, 7 News.
All right, now you can pretty much divvy this up to anything you want. Now you made a good point. Sarah made a great point on the ears, the
Pig ears.
Pig ears. They actually have pig fur, the hair from the pig, on it. But right there, that's, you know, yeah, okay, I can see where that's on the actual ear as a actual treat to give your dog.
Or like a hide that has been dried out.
Yeah.
You know, because that's a good dog treat too. We sell joysticks, which are cowhides rolled up, and never had any kind of hair follicles on those either. But again, these are treats that were made here in the United States, not in China.
See, I can understand that, but marrow is bone marrow. There shouldn't be any hair in there.
Yeah, there shouldn't have any kind of fibers whatsoever.
Very stiff fibers is what it's actually showing. You can look online. You can see these. They're protruding pretty far out of these bites, and it's not like, oh, it's one in every couple. It's not a toy in a box of cereal. We're talking about almost every one of these have it. It's a growing concern, and it's again bringing up the question, Purina, what the serious F are you putting in your stuff?
And what sucks so much is because Purina has those awesome dog shows. They have the Purina Farms out here in Missouri that you can go to. It's very fun. They have this really nifty place. But boy, is their product BS.
Yeah, it's like and what really gets me, and I kind of laugh at it, is that, and we've said this in previous podcasts, is, hey, look, on our bag of food, we're showing you that we put all the things your dog's allergic to on the bag, and we tell you, hey, it's good for your dog, and yet it's not.
Yeah, I wouldn't feed any treat from a grocery store to my dog. I won't do it. My dog, I can boil a piece of chicken. Obviously our chicken is cage free and it is free range. So even the chicken that we eat is very researched to make sure that it comes from a very humane upraising.
Well, it's like when we took Katana last week to the vet because she has allergies, and the first thing they ask is, what are you feeding your dog? Well, yeah, that would be exactly
Blue Diamond Naturals.
It's like
Diamond Naturals.
I say the same thing to people. I see flaky hair dogs where I'm at, and I'm like, well, I know right away that they're feeding their dog bad crap.
Yeah. So it frustrates me. I would much rather go and boil a piece of chicken for my dog and use those as treats than ever buy anything from the grocery store.
And there's some good treats though out there that are not from these garbagey low grades.
Well, see, my problem was when we moved out here, we really didn't know Shadowwood was an actual store.
True.
We thought it was just a boarding and grooming place, with not the greatest reputation at the time.
It didn't have anything to do with them. It had something to do with someone else.
A certain person leaving did all the good things for them. It only takes one bad apple to ruin a nice sweet pie. So once that bad apple was removed, that pie became sweet and good. Anywho, I didn't know they sold good stuff, and we're buying our dog food from the only place where we thought we could buy it from. And Family Center hikes up their food so much. I wasn't about to go spend more money on dog food at Family Center than I did at PetSmart for the good stuff out in California. I'm not doing it.
And I mean, there are, and I know where I'm living right now, out where I'm at, there's a lot of places to buy dog food, and you've been into a couple of the stores. They have some low grade, and you can just see the chart as it goes up: low grade, medium grade, high grade, and really high end. And some things you're paying extra money for. I'll tell you one thing, we say this all the time: you feed your dog less with the good stuff than if you feed them the crap. And it's almost, I think it was actually the crap is 2 cups or 3 cups compared to a cup
and a
left.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually half of what a good quality is.
Even when you get down to the treat part, like rawhides, like those people are finding rubber bands in rawhides. The rawhides themselves had worms. This is stuff bought at grocery stores.
Right.
Now, you go to PetSmart or Petco, they have low-grade stuff too. Their corporate makes them, obviously. But the little shops, they take on the better foods.
Yeah.
There's one particular pet store out in Springfield. I forgot the name of the place.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of them either.
That was called like Petways or something.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about. That's what I was referencing.
Yeah, that one. Yes, they had entry-level food that is better than the grocery store, and they have really good stuff. But I would much rather make the treats at home from stuff I know where it came from than buy the food from the Walmart.
Yeah.
And then once we started working at Shadowwood, then I'm like, oh, all this amazing stuff, and I didn't know it was here.
That's true. And then you learn how it all processes through. And look, I'm gonna go on the side here that every maker has, every different dog food company out there, they all have bad days.
Yeah, they have batches that aren't right.
Right, there's always something that can go wrong. Even the top of the top can have a bad day. It just seems like this one has it all the time.
Well, yeah, like Diamond Naturals, they had a big recall a couple years ago, but haven't had one since.
Right.
Purina had one a few months ago.
Yeah. How many times do we talk about it?
Bigger the company, the more problems that they're going to have. We understand that. We know that. But this isn't just, oops, we misread the ingredients, or, oh, whoops, we used the wrong flavor. No, this is fibers that can hurt the dog's mouths. It can get stuck in their mouths. It could screw up their intestines. Stuff like that.
Well, it could scratch their esophagus. It's a stiff fiber that goes down. If it goes down the wrong way, and it, let's just say their throat's dry for whatever reason, and it's sharp. I mean, in the article, the guy says he poked his finger and it hurt. That is a problem. And really, I don't see, Purina's...
Why would it even be there?
That was the question, and Purina's answer is, well, it's good for the dog. How is hair good for you?
Well, the thing, I don't necessarily say it's good for them, but I don't think it's damaging, because we used to sell pig ears. We stopped selling them because they're actually more fatty and not as healthy for the dog versus the other treats we had. So we stopped selling pig ears. But on the pig ears, there's little hairs left on them.
Little is one thing. We're talking
they're
big
tiny
pieces, though.
That's why I think those aren't pigs. That isn't pig hair.
Probably not.
It's something else. Something else contaminated it. Since they don't want to do anything to find out the source of this fiber is, whether it could be horse hair, it could be some other type of animal hair that we don't condone using here in the U.S., that China would use, under the direction of Purina. They need to do the test on those hairs.
Well, they did a test in this, and they don't have it in the article. It was conclusive it was hair, just not of what animal.
That is bogus. Because there are plenty of research out there that you could tell what hair came from what animal.
Well, it was putting it under a microscope was what was in the video.
Well, yeah, but there's others. A company as big as Purina, with as much money as Purina, because not only is Purina making money off all their brands of food, they're also making money on all the dog shows that they host.
Oh, yeah.
Every person that does an entry in, they get money for it.
Oh, yeah.
So they have plenty of money to send it to a high-tech lab
But
at some
Purina
college.
wasn't doing this investigation. It was someone. It was outside.
Purina should.
Oh yeah.
But Purina won't.
No.
So if this company won't step in to help you keep your pet healthy, then why should you be giving them the money so their pockets can get fatter?
And one day I'd love to have Purina on the show, somebody from Purina, just to weigh in. I mean, I would stay as biased as possible, but I would definitely hit the questions of, well, why is this, an issue? Why is that an issue? I know they'll never be on the podcast, but it would be fun to have them on.
I'd tear them up. I would tear them up.
I would try to be good about it. Okay, now we're going to move on to our second clip of the day. And it comes again from a company that, again, we have spotlighted as having issues. And it's UPS. So sit back and again, hear us rant about a company that has not fixed a problem.
An exclusive interview and footage of a UPS driver kicking a small dog. The video has already had thousands of hits online.
UPS managers say they have seen the video as well. The dog's owner talked only to KSBY News. Lily Tan is in our San Luis Obispo studio with tonight's top story. What led up to this altercation, Lily?
Well, Jeanette, it's unclear. The dog's owner says he's never met or interacted with the driver before. After it happened, he contacted the police and UPS and an attorney. He's telling us his story because he thinks more needs to be done. It's a quick kick to the chest. A little white dog rolls to the ground and runs away.
And the guy just came out of nowhere like a tornado. Honestly, I thought he'd killed the dog. When I saw him spin around like that and scream, I thought, oh man, that's it.
The surveillance video at a senior living facility shows what happens next. The pet's owner, Tim Paulson, running up.
He didn't say a word. I wasn't prepared for it, or he just clobbered me twice. Not once, but twice.
It appears as though Paulson's fist is clenched.
I had my thumb out, and I didn't think about it. It was a reaction. I just said, hey man, I was sitting right there, and that's when he just clobbered me right here.
The dog seems to recover pretty quickly. Paulson says he was trying to calm the driver down after that.
He did say that he's been attacked before. He was telling me how much he hates dogs and that he would kick me too.
UPS corporate officials say they train their drivers to be cautious when confronted by any dog and protect themselves when threatened. However, they watch the video and say UPS does not condone this driver's behavior and took disciplinary action. We have contacted the customer and apologized, but Paulson says he still sees the driver around town.
What I'd hope that UPS would do was reevaluate this driver. He definitely needs some sort of therapy.
Now, Paulson says he does not want the driver fired. He says he wants people to be aware that this can happen to other pets, too. When we asked our viewers on social media what they thought, opinions varied. Now, Keith F. says it looks bad, but UPS stopped and the dog kept charging. The little dogs are always the worst, too. Kathy C. says, are we watching the same video? The dog was aggressive and it would have gotten up and charged the man, but it didn't. Now that you have more of the backstory, let us know what you think. The video will be on KSBY.com. Dan, back to you.
Yeah, lots of different ways to read that video, Lily. Thank you. Tascadero police say Paulson filed battery charges against the driver, and officers are still investigating, and when they're finished, they will forward the case to the district attorney's office for review.
Again, another company, another time we've mentioned them, and they still haven't fixed their problems.
See, I don't think it's necessarily the company. I think it's him.
Well, again, though, go back to, I don't remember what episode it was that we had the same issue. It was always about training. We talked about this specific thing. They worry about a lot of different things, which is great. They have a great facility to train their staff, their drivers, their deliveries. They have a method. They have yet to work out a method for dogs. And I saw the video. It was a little yippy dog running up to him. It wasn't going to bite him. It was so small, it would have bit his boot. It wouldn't have gone any further. And if it would have bit him, I can understand, trying to, get away from, at whatever, he has to do without harming the dog. The dog wasn't going to lunge on him and jump and attack him. It wasn't like it was a Rottweiler or an Akita or Pit or Adobe. it was a small, I'm almost thinking it was like a Pomeranian. It was small. I mean, honestly, you know, and then you know, what was funny is the guy who came that you heard in the interview, you know, he's not a young guy. Kind of a surfer, hippie type guy with white gray hair. And, you know, you can tell in the voice, you can tell what he was like. You know, he came up, well, aggressively, but the guy just kicked the dog.
Yeah.
And, you know, this guy immediately pushes him, like a good solid push. So this guy was already agitated. He had that physicality to him.
Yeah.
And it was not that fight or flight type mentality. It was fight, straight fight. That right there, that was where I drew the line. I'm like, okay, this guy has real problems. He's got anger issues that are right there. I could tell right off the bat. This guy has anger issues. It's again, I'm putting it on UPS. Why are you not training your drivers better?
See, and once again, it goes back to that comment that I made. You know, it takes one bad apple to spoil the pie. And
you and pies, are you wishing for pie tonight?
I want apple pie.
Ah,
really do.
okay, well, we'll
Dutch
stop
apple.
it. We'll get some apple pie before we go home.
Okay. Anyway, Dutch apple. Okay, so the biggest thing here is that we gotta look at if it was his first offense.
I don't care if it's his first offense. I mean, I don't say fire the guy. I say
if it happened before, then yes, fire the hell out of him.
Well, okay, I see where you're going with this.
You know, one strike. You know, you got one time. After it happens again, you're fired. You know, because there's been times where Roxy has come up and jumped on me when I was.
Look what Roxy did to me last night.
I was not expecting it. She comes and jumps on me, and I push her. She startled me. I wasn't expecting her, the 70-pound dog, to jump on me. And I felt bad. I went down to my knees and I held on to her. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay, but here, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. This guy had a dolly next to him. He had a dolly as he was walking, and dolly is facing forward, dog's coming towards him. He could have put the dolly in between himself and the dog without any kind of issue. That's the first thing. He could have used the dolly as a shield.
Yeah.
He didn't. Yeah. And don't, I'm sorry, I am not going to give any opportunity for anybody to say, well, no. Straight up, he went for aggressive nature first, not defense. If somebody's going to come at me and throw a punch at me, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use defense before I actually respond back. Well, same thing with a dog.
One of the things that I don't understand is that when I worked for the big box pet store, when I first started grooming, I was forced to carry this specific insurance. It's called AD&D, and it stands for accidental death or dismemberment. Because if a dog bites my finger, I'm not, I don't sue the store, I collect insurance. And they should have the same thing. They should have AD&D insurance. They should have something that will protect them against bites. And it's like, okay, you get bit, you go after the homeowner. If you get bit, go ahead and go after the homeowner for having that aggressive dog in their yard.
Yeah.
You know, they can make the statement saying, oh, well, it's their yard, and I just broke my glasses.
How the blank?
I was cleaning them too hard. I was getting too worked up here.
and I'm the one that's
sorry.
That's agitated. Wow.
I love these sunglasses too.
Well, we'll see if we can fix them.
I hope so. Anywho, if you get bit by this little yippy dog, okay, go after the owner. Sue them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to find excuses here. The guy, the UPS driver's at fault, and UPS is at fault for not training.
Take one for the team.
There was ways of defending yourself, like I said. The guy came up within milliseconds. The guy was up there.
And if you're afraid of dogs, why are you in this business in the first place? It's like, I'm scared to death of dogs, but I want to be a dog groomer.
Well, it's like a mailman who says the same thing. I'm afraid of dogs, but I'm a mailman. Well, you're the natural enemy to a dog.
You're invading their property. You're invading their space. They're doing only what's natural. So if you're scared of them, find another place to work, or don't get into that at all.
Now,
don't give me this sob story about how this is the only place that would hire me.
No, I'm gonna give one thing on the driver's side, and it is for defense. That is, the person should not have had the dog off leash. The dog's off leash with improper training or no training whatsoever. That dog should not be wandering around aimlessly. It's a senior villa, which has traffic going in and out. This dog should not have been off leash.
Yeah,
so,
see, and that's the problem too. You have irresponsible dog owners.
That's it.
That is just as much to blame as the actual person who kicked them.
Well, I'm gonna use this, and that is, and I'll close out with this, and I want your close as well on it. But I still, and I said it the last time we had UPS having an incident, they need to do a better job training their drivers.
You can train till you're blue in the face, doesn't mean people are going to use them.
But at least do it.
They do it. They do have the training.
I don't think they have the training.
They train.
So we're
it's whether or not the people want to use it. It's the same thing with dog groomers. You can teach this person how to properly handle a dog, and then they walk away from the tub and the dog hangs himself.
Or they say they don't use the noose or harness.
Yeah, or you train them not to shave mats out, or not to cut mats out, and then all of a sudden the dog's missing the ear, like our dog that we had the other day.
Well, hey, I heard a story of a groomer that actually cut an eyelid and decided to glue. I don't know this groomer. I just heard of it. It's out in Springfield. They glued the eye with super glue, and now the dog's going to lose its eye. So, again, that's serious
it's
what?
Like the dog that you groomed not too long ago. I think it was Monday or something.
It was Monday.
Half its ear was missing, and it was done in another state, so it's nowhere here in Missouri. But they thought they were cutting a mat out.
Yeah.
And that was the entire ear.
How do you not feel the leather?
I don't know.
That's my question.
It's like you get halfway through, even when you start, you can feel the difference between hair and flesh.
Yeah,
and they sliced it straight across.
Yeah, they've Van Gogh.
Nope.
Jeez.
So you can train.
I learned how to groom on the back of a tricks box. All right. Well, that concludes G&D news for the week. Okay, now on to our main topic of the week. Now, I can be a real hard A when I want to be, and I can be really appreciative to different people who are out there doing amazing things. This week was one of those situations. There's a foundation called Warrior Dog Foundation. An amazing individual, absolute superhero who has done more for our country than many people out there. I'm going to explain to you what Warrior Dog Foundation is, and then I'm going to explain a little bit more, and we'll go on. So, the Warrior Dog Foundation was established by Mike Ritland. He fought as a Navy SEAL in Operation Iraqi Freedom and other deployments, that kind of says we can't discuss what they were because they never happened, and that's amazing. That right there is like, oh my gosh, you're a real life superhero. He is also the founder of Tricos International. It's a company that provides private protection dogs to companies and high net worth individuals. He created Warrior Dog Foundation with the sole purpose of giving back to the Navy SEAL and Special Operations community. Warrior Dog Foundation is dedicated to serving the Special Operations community, families, and Special Operation Forces, which is SOF for short, or abbreviated. Working canine military dogs. The canines employed with these forces are the top tier in working dog world. They are expected to work in the most extreme environments and situations, which I mean, I'm already out. I couldn't even do it, which is amazing that a dog is more valuable than I am. And they're faced with conditions that most human beings cannot survive, which I just said, I'm already out. These are the environments in which these elite dogs operate in. The canine units are vital in I can't even talk anymore. Ensuring, I was saying ensuing, but ensuring the success of every mission and operation in all conditions. Warrior Dog Foundation helped to transform dogs from operational environments into a state-of-the-art kennel facility. They strive to educate the public on the importance of canines in combat environment and showcase the level of sacrifice the dogs give in support to the troops. They take care of each individual with dignity, grace, including both mental and physical rehabilitation for the rest of their lives. In the future, they hope to establish a scholarship fund for families of handlers who are wounded or killed. They plan to build a living memorial and a museum for these SOF canines to showcase their talents and awards received in combat operations and support the nation's military. Alone, that is just one of the best situations I've ever heard of, best foundations I've heard of. You know, last week we talked about, elite dogs that are actually serving overseas, the handlers and these bomb sniffing dogs. This guy actually can help train these dogs. And a lot of the dogs that I actually saw in another article, they're retired from the military. They can no longer serve, and they will work in the law enforcement age because they can work in drug sniffing. They can be like chaos. They are just remarkable dogs. They can do more than most humans do in their life. They do it in 1 year, and that always gets me. But this individual, he actually does such a great job, and the reason why I wanted to highlight him is he actually wrote a book. It's called Team Dog. I'm going to play you an excerpt from the actual book itself, and then we will discuss.
Discipline to raising Bud as he did to my two older brothers, my sister and me. The only difficulties we ever encountered were with lax owners who let a couple of dogs wreak havoc on some of the neighborhood kids and dogs. For a long time, I had a healthy dislike for German Shepherds based on my unpleasant interactions with a member of that breed who was the town bully. If you were to ask my dad, he'd tell you about an Airedale Terrier who ran off his property and jumped Bud. My dad had to intervene, risking serious damage to himself, but he was able to separate the two of them. Bud was on the ropes, and my dad saved him. I share that story because it illustrates a couple of things. First, dogs are animals, and as much as we like to believe that their sweet and gentle nature rules the day, they do have a potential for violent action, either when threatened or simply because their genetic makeup drives them to it. That's true for any breed of dog, though natural faulty wiring is somewhat rare. We never found out what set off that Airedale Terrier. His owner was equally mystified. To hear him tell it, the dog had no history of such extreme boundary aggression. But something none of us humans could determine had prompted him to attack on that particular day and in that particular encounter. That said, the dog didn't just suddenly lose his mind, as I've heard many people say about their dogs.
That was an excerpt from the actual book, Team Dog. Now, we've actually never mentioned a book on our podcast yet. Reason why is we just have never found something that was this powerful. I have never found anything this powerful. Just a great person itself. Mike Ritland is a New York Times best-selling author, and he is a former Navy SEAL. And the work that he does with Warrior Dog Foundation is amazing. And that's why I contacted the foundation this week to ask if I could actually talk about it. I wanted to actually have him on the podcast, but with my schedule, I can't do any kind of interviews because I don't have a lot of free time. So I want to have him on the podcast at some point in time because he's not only a living legend for what he's done, but he actually trains these elite dogs. And it just, to me, is something that we need to actually highlight, especially in this podcast. We highlight the good, we highlight the bad. This type of performance and dedication and service, not only while serving our country, but serving these canines and teaching them how to actually be so productive is amazing. Anything you want to go with?
Nothing I could say could excel what he has done any higher than what we've already said.
In Team Dog, Mike taps into his 15 years worth of experience and shares in accessible and in a direct language of science behind the importance of gaining a dog's trust. So if you ever have any questions on training dogs and you're interested in any of this stuff, or you want to actually find out more about what he does, I can't stress, go over to his website. Take a look at different things. I'm going to put it in the show notes because I'm amazed by it. His book is great. It's on sale on iTunes. Take a look at this stuff because honestly, we have so much garbage out there, and this is a Kardashian-free type of podcast, and garbagey, stupid things that have no purpose. We want to actually, educate everybody in just every aspect of pets. He does it, well, with probably 2 pages. We've had 85 podcasts, and he's done it in 2 pages compared to us. But, an amazing individual, great book. I can't say enough. So thank you to Mike for all that he does in his book.
And all he has done.
And he continues to do. Like I said, we really do hope that we can have him on the podcast once all of the life that we're going through kind of slows down and I'm back in my normal routine and not traveling back and forth and doing school. So yeah, that's it for me. I'm pretty much I'm all talked out at this point.
Very true. I mean, whoever goes out and they get on iTunes, the book on iTunes, or actually picks up a copy or something, let us know what you think. Write into us, and you have any questions, any comments, definitely shoot us an email.
Yeah, shoot us an email at thegroomernextdoor@yahoo.com. Post comments on our iTunes or YouTube channel. You guys actually are amazing when you guys post the comments on the YouTube channel. I read them every time, and I personally respond to every one. I just think it's so cool to actually hear from you guys. You can always check us out on Facebook, the Groomer Next Door Podcast. Give us a like. I try to post as much as possible. Of course, now with everything being so crazy and schedule, it's been really difficult. But definitely give us a comment, a like. It all helps out. Well, I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green, making sure everybody realizes life is short. Play with your pet.
And Claire?
Play your pet and have fun. So have a pet-tastic week.
A pet-tastic week with your pet.
With your pet.
Awesome.
And play with your pet.
All right.
Have fun.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.
Was without doubt the worst episode ever. Rest assured that I was on the internet within minutes, registering my disgust throughout the world.